Hey guys, welcome back to Indie Game Hustle. In this video, we're going to take a look at how we can effectively build game assets and how we can make our own personal game asset packs using AI, using generation, using prompts, using images, and kind of how we can kind of walk through that process. I'm using PicoBerry, so I'm going to kind of walk you through how it works and how I'm kind of approaching this. And maybe if you have some ideas, you can drop them in the comments of how maybe you're approaching it. But let's take a look at what I've been doing here in my scene. So ultimately, what I normally do is I have on the side, I have the image, and I think about generating an image, right? I think about what it is that I need. So for instance, we're looking at this image here. We have these rocks, this formation, and I can kind of see that in the game. Like maybe there's a treasure chest in the middle of that section there. Maybe there's a bunch of these in a bunch of areas, but I kind of like the rocks. I like the shape, I like the color, and I like how all of this works. And so my thought is, okay, how do I build this? Now, initially, what we'll do is we'll take this image and we'll just straight go like image to 3D, right? Because PicoBerry allows you to just click it and it'll take you straight to image to 3D, and then you will generate that image. So perfect example is where this image, if I have it in here or not, I think I do. I think it's in here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. So we have it here or something like it, right? So you would say, okay, I want to take this and maybe use it in the game. And you could do that. That's completely fine. You can actually use this. But wouldn't it be nice if you could take these rocks and kind of separate them from this terrain or something like that? So I started thinking it through, and let's go back to our images. And if you notice down here, right here, I had a process and I went up and I said, well, what if I wanted these individual rocks kind of broken down? And so now I can render or 3D, generate these individually. And so now what I'm doing is I have a process that I'm going to say is I take this image, I can break these up, and then I can generate for each individual image. Now, I did test the concept of just generating this image to 3D and just taking this as it is, and that does work. So that is one way to do it. But I think there's multiple ways you can approach this, but let's keep going. So I have that, and so now you can see how now I can really, really generate all types of different shapes of rocks with the same texture, the same style, and it really just comes down to the type of prompts that you're using. You want to make sure that your prompt is very clear. For instance, this one says, analyze the reference image and identify each distinct rock shape within the cluster. And then it separate each rock into its own individual image while preserving the original lighting, art style, texture, language, material, detail, etc., etc. Do not alter the texture, all of that. So you really want to really have your prompts be pretty detailed. Now, some of the best ways to do prompts is simply using something like an AI chat, like something like a Copilot or something like a ChatGPT to help you create prompts that are very detailed. And that's kind of the process that I use. So I can type in generally what I'm thinking, and then I say, hey, why don't you create a prompt that really identifies what I'm looking for? And then I come in here and I test that prompt out. And in this case, it came out wonderful. This is exactly what I was looking for. Now in here, I can select this. So I wanted like a bunch of different rocks. Now these are almost identical in this case, but this would be fine if I just needed a few of these and I wanted to just generate this into a little cluster. And as you can see, I'm kind of creating this little palette of different objects that I can use in a game, but then we would turn these and generate these into full 3D. Now, this concept can be taken also into other things like images. So, for instance, I had an image and I said, hey, I want you to look at this stylized house and I want you to break down all of the elements of this home into their own individual image, right? And so with that, you have this, and you might have saw here, what I did was I took those images, broke them out, and created individual assets for that. Now for this one, this is a good one. So we have a low poly here, and I'm using the PB Slim. So this looks pretty good. There's some issues there. We can probably regenerate that if needed. We have this here, and we have this door, right? And so that is a very, very effective way to do that. So what I did was and I've tested this a bunch of different times. So basically we have PicoBerry's image generator, and you can select the model here. So in this case, I just used Nano Banana 2. You can try with part 1. Nano Banana 1 probably does a pretty good job too, but I just used this one. And you can use the reference image of the house that you're using. So you would just select the reference image and say we can pick a house. I have some test houses and things here that I'm just kind of messing with. So you can pick your house, and I'll just pick this one for fun. And this one is saying analyze the reference environment. Identify distinct objects within the scene, detect all items like furniture, props, tools, decorations, etc., etc. And it goes on to explain that. And so you can then pick the type of style you want. So if you want your house or those individual images to keep the style of that home, you just put this on either. I think concept art would work. None would probably get the job done even better. And then to get this layout, you can just do a 16:9, and to get the most variety here, we'll just put it on a number of 4 images. So ultimately, in this case, we're looking at 520 credits, right? So you think, oh, that's so many credits, but you're getting a whole lot of assets, images already, like quickly. Now, you don't have to do 4 images. You can do 1 image, and it's only 130, et cetera, et cetera. So we're just going to do 4 just like that. And I'm just going to hit generate just so that you can see that outcome, and you can already see kind of what I've been playing with here. So I'll just go ahead and hit generate for now. And now while that generates, I'll just take you over to my other program here that I use to kind of break images down. And that's going to be this Affinity. Now you can use, of course, any photo authoring software. There's lots of out there, but I just use this one because it's pretty easy. It's free. And it makes it pretty quick. So here I just went ahead and separated these individually. What I typically do is I just kind of go into a particular pixel mode here. And what I'll do is go into this here and I say, okay, I want this basket of fruit here, just like that. Hover that. You want to make sure that that image, this actual whole image here is selected. And I'll go ahead and turn these off just for reference. And I'll do a Control J, and that's going to create that image just like that. So if you see it, it's just like that. Awesome. So at this point, now I can just export this and turn this into an individual image that I can then use 3D to deal with. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and export that. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back in here, and what I'll do is go ahead and move into model, and then I'll take the box of fruit here on this other screen I'm using, and I'm just going to drag that image as soon as I find it in here. Awesome. And so now we have this image. It's perfect. It's fine, at least for now. Okay. And then we can set the poly count. So I could use any one of these. And last time we were here, Meshy and Meshy 6 low poly wasn't here yet. So as you can see, it's already updating. So PicoBerry is constantly updating and keeping things going here. So now you have access to Meshy 6 and Meshy 6 low poly. On top of that, for remeshing, You also can choose now the remesh engine that you want to use. So we can go over that on another video individually, but for now, we're just going to focus on this. So what I'll do is set the poly count to something reasonable for something this size. We can try it at, I'll say 1200 for now, and we'll do it with a texture. And then we'll just go ahead and throw the 4K on it just because it's not that much. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I'll just go ahead and hit generate, and we'll let that roll out just like that. Now, for these, for instance, now these different items here. So if you can see, I have this here, this crate. And so all I did was bring it in, separate it from my image, just like I did this one here. But instead of doing a texture, I just did mesh only. And then what I want to do is just go to texture, and then I'll select the image. So I can go in here, and there's that image I want to apply. And you can remove the background or not. Sometimes it helps it. I'll just go ahead and do it so we can see what it looks like. And so that's what the image looks like. And then we can choose the texture type that we want to use. So we can use triple texture, or we can use meshy texture. And again, this is great to be able to do this directly in here without having to jump to a bunch of different other platforms. So in this case, I'll just go ahead and use the meshy option for now. And then what I'll do is go ahead and hit generate, and we can see how that goes. So I'll hit generate on that. And so now we have a couple of different things working here. And just to keep it interesting, we're going to keep going, and I'll do this here, and I'll texture that one as well. So we can just keep going. We don't have to slow down. Those are working in the background. I'll go ahead and select this, and I'll do the same thing to the door. So I'll go ahead and add the door option as well. And we're just going to kind of see what these results look like. And the flower, I may want to actually regenerate this one just to kind of see if we can get a better result for that. But just for giggles here, let's go ahead and see what the texture outcome could be. So I'll go ahead and apply that and hit generate. So we'll go ahead and wait for these, and I'll be right back. Now, before those are done, actually, I wanted to show you the image here. So remember that house that we used as our reference? This is the output of that prompt with this. So now we have some items here. We have, based on the image, we have like this this crate, right? This little drum barrel thing. We have the shovel, rope, some flowers, some cobblestone type grounds, watering plants, door, all of these things here. And this is really, really nice because now we can take this and kind of now look at these as individual items to build this home. So for instance, if I want to take this here, so if you look, these are the 4 images that it developed. Now, all of them have something a little different from each, right? So all of them don't have this here or this little window seal with the plants and flowers on it, this little group of barrels versus the one, those sorts of things, like this little ground here. So that could be really useful. So it really just depends on what you need to kind of build out your scene. And then you can kind of break that down. And I think we'll kind of go through and play with that. This video might get a little long, but that's okay because we're just hanging out and we're just kind of playing with some of these AI things here. Now let's take a look at some of these results. It looks like some of them are done. So let's take a look at our little crate here. So that looks pretty good, I would say. That looks good. This has like a red handle. I would say that's probably fine. I would expect maybe a handle to be on the side here. Or not a handle at all. It should actually probably just be a hole. So, but guess what? We can use UModeler to kind of edit this as well. And so that looks pretty good. That's kind of low poly, but that would look completely fine in the background of a scene. And that's pretty easy. That's an easy game asset that you can use. Let's look at our barrel as well. Again, this barrel looks great. It's consistent with the style of the image as well, and it's consistent all around. There's nothing I would say is wrong with this. And the poly count isn't too high. Sure, maybe can you model a barrel that has a lower poly count? Sure, maybe. But I mean, at what end? I think this is completely fine. If you look at this here, this is great. I'm not a texture artist, but this will allow me to be able to get something easily done. Poly count is pretty low, and that's definitely usable. And we have this door. That's great. Look at that door. And what we would probably need to do with this door is kind of go into UModeler, and then we can use the edge tool to kind of separate this door from this if we want to actually get this door to open and close. But that's the beauty. You have that option to be able to do that. And let's take a look at this plant. Plant looks not too bad. I would probably redo it again in terms of the modeling, but all in all, this looks fine. This is pretty good. It's something that would be at a distance like that, and that's great. So just off the top there, you guys, I mean, that was just creating some assets that are all stylistically like within the same body here. So now I'm gonna go ahead and play with one of these images. If I had you guys live, I can have you choose what you want. We can do that maybe if you guys are interested in that. And me going live, because I never go live, but I would if you guys are interested in doing that. But let's go ahead. I'm thinking I want to do something from, say, here. And I'm curious to see how this would turn out. I'm curious to see how this whimsy in would turn out. Maybe the lamp, the chair for sure. So let's do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and download this here. So in PicoBerry, you have this. I'll go ahead and click here for downloading, and then it's going to download to my PC, and then I'll open it up on the Affinity. So I will be back. All right, so now we're in Affinity here, and just to quickly do this, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And now we have this new image here, just like this. And so what I'll do is just go ahead and increase the size of this a little bit. And then we have that. So the quick thing to do is all I need to do is go to my little rectangle tool here, because you have to make sure that you're selecting the proper layer. So I'll go ahead and do this one again, and then go back, select that layer, do this again, do this again. And what else do we want, you guys? Maybe we'll do a flower pot again to see if we can get a different result with that. And some of these images are lower quality, so we can probably look into doing something about that. But for this video, I think for now, this is sufficient. So let's see, what else do we want? Do we need a shovel? I don't know if we need a shovel. Let's see what else. I think that's good just to do testing. So I'll see you guys back at PicoBerry. Just a second. All right, so we're back in PicoBerry, and I have those images ready to go. So I'll go ahead and click here, upload images, and we're just gonna select all of these. You can just hold down Control and select those there, and I'll hit open. And those are all gonna get added into our uploads area. And we can start with the whimsy in sign, because that one seems pretty interesting. I think I forgot one. I'll go back and get it because I want to see what that goes, how that looks. And so we'll use the PB Slim, and I'll do the same method I did here. So what I'll do is focus on the poly count. I'll just set it maybe like, I don't know, 2500. Mesh only, hit generate, and then get rid of it. And then we go back. I'm gonna go actually and get another one, just a moment. All right, and then I'll go ahead and go in here and upload the image that I wanted. We'll do this one here. I was very curious to see how this would turn out. And I'll go ahead, I'll leave it just like that. I'll bring this one up a little bit, just to make sure we can get some details. And then we can always remesh if needed. Do something like that. hit generate, and then I'll continue. And what I'll do is go ahead and do the flower pot here, and we'll do the flower pot at maybe like 4,000 there. And we'll just keep going until we get everything that we want. I'll do this chair now, and we'll keep this kind of low because it really doesn't need to be that high. It shouldn't be. And last but not least, this here. No, I think it's this one. Yeah. And we'll do this one a little high like that. All right, cool. So there you go. All right. And so let's take a look at what we've already gotten here. So our sign is done. Let's see what we got. Guys, that looks pretty good. As far as I'm concerned, that looks really good. I didn't have to model that at all. And I just focused on the proper inputs for it. Great. It looks pretty good. All right, moving on. Let's look at the platform with the steps. Now, that one didn't turn out as the way I hoped, but it's okay. That is what this is about. Let's take a look at this looks pretty good. This bench looks really good as well. And yeah, that looks good. That looks good. And that looks good too. Great. So let's go ahead and texture these guys and just kind of see what that result looks like. So I'll head over to texturing, and I'll go ahead and select this. So this is the sign, I believe. So let's go ahead and select that and add that and just hit texture 4K. And I'll do the light as well. So I'll just go ahead and do that, add that. There we go. And do that as well. And I'll just go ahead and do the bench. Confirm that one. And that looks good too. We'll do the flower pot. Do that one. And that looks good. And for this one, I'm actually thinking I want to do another model on this. I'm going to try it one more time. It could be also the quality of the image. Because if you look at it, it's not too bad. I just think it may be the quality of the image. What I'll do is maybe bring the polygons up to maybe something like 20,000 just to see what it does. And we'll do that. So I'll go ahead and hit generate on that. Awesome. So now we just wait, right? And that's what's great. We can just wait and see what happens. All right, I'm back here, and looks like we're getting some results coming in. As you can see, as they finish, it says 3D texture generated. You get a little notification at the top. I'll go ahead and click on this sign here and see how it looks. And I say that looks pretty good. Obviously, the other side is not what I expect, but that can be easily handled in a 3D software. So we can handle that. That's not a big deal. But ultimately, the modeling part is good and looks great. We can easily update this using uMaler's Paint feature, and we can go ahead and update that very quickly. So that looks really good. I would say, why wouldn't you use this? This is great. Let's take a look at this here. That looks good too. Very solid. Very, very good. Very good. I would say that's ready. That can be used. And if you say, oh, well, there's polys here, you can delete those. You can easily go in and remove unnecessary polys, especially if this is not going to be seen by the player, right? So you can go in and delete those, turn this into a uMaler object and delete that. Will be great. That looks really good. Let's take a look at our bench here. I wouldn't expect this to look bad. It looks great. I expected this to look like a bench and with wood. So I think it came out really good. I think it could be lower poly, I think, and we could honestly kind of reduce it a little bit more, but for the most part, it looks good and I have no complaints about this. So that looks great. Let's take a look at this plant since it has so many leaves and stuff. Hey, that's usable as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that looks great. I think that's fine. I would use this. Maybe other people wouldn't, but I think that looks good. I don't think anybody is. If this was a bunch of plants in an area like at a stylized house, you're probably not inspecting this, and more than likely your game camera is not gonna get close enough to even. You're not gonna be like this. You know, I get it. This isn't up close, but from a certain distance, this looks like a pot with really nice flowers. So I think that's really good. And I have another idea. I'll probably put that in another video, but I have another idea how to approach this. So we'll look at that. And let's take a look at this cobblestone. So yeah, that didn't turn out too good, but that's okay. I think it may just be the angle in which that works. But for the most part, all of these other items turned out really good. And I would use these pretty quickly. Yeah, so kudos to that. So let's just take a look here. But all in all, you have a very quick, easy way to be able to create a bunch of game assets for your scenes. And it's just it's really good. It's really easy. And I think you guys should definitely take a look at this. I'm going to keep diving in on this and kind of figuring it out, because you can use prompting to kind of get framework for the houses. You can break this stuff down into their individual pieces, and you can really craft your spaces based on what you need. So this is really good. As one little test, actually, I was curious to show you this. Say we take this and we send this image to 3D, or say this one here, and we just send it over. And let's go ahead and I'll do this to where it gets no background. And let's see if how it works with that. So I'm gonna do the poly count. We can do something like, I don't know, something low, like 5,000 across all of these. I don't know, maybe like 10. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe like 10. So like 1,000 a piece, maybe to break it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. Let's just do something like, I don't know, 20. Screw it. All right, let's see how this actually turns out. I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. All right, and it's done generating. This is kind of what this looks like here. So right off the gate, that's not too bad. It kind of thinks it's at an angle for some reason, but it kind of gives you everything you need. It's not perfect for sure. If we did a texture on it using the same generated image, so if we were to go down and say, what image did we use? Oh, that's a good question. Let's see here. I want to make sure I use the same one. Was it that one? Let's see if I can identify it. It was, I think it was this one. So, yeah, I think it was this one. And I'll click this. I'm going to go ahead and just apply the textures to it, and just let's get an idea. Let's see how it applies. I'll hit generate. I'll be right back. All right, so it looks like the picture is, or the texture is all good to go. So this is what it looks like. That's not too bad. If we go ahead and remove that, as far as I'm concerned, that's usable. It's pretty good. It's stylized. It's just painted basically. So yeah, I think that works pretty good. Now, could you use this in your game the way it looks like this? You could. And the way you would do that, we can get into a different video, but the way you would do that is you would just like use UMauler, actually separate all of these different objects into their own individual objects. And you can do it that way too. So there's nothing wrong with you kind of doing like a group this way. Doing a group like this, you could, I would say it could affect the quality of the image, but with something of this quality, like if you're looking, like depending on how your game is, if you're like a top down from a distance, I don't think that's going to be that different. But if it's like a really close up type of thing, you may want to do something more individually. So, but all in all, I think all of this is really good outputs, and being able to generate your own assets directly here and really cool, right? You can actually go into collections and create your own little asset packs and kind of really build on what you have and hold on to everything that you have, and you can start really crafting and building whatever you guys need. So I'm gonna keep playing with this and kind of think of new workflows that we can use here inside of PicoBerry and how we can really benefit from this. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna keep coming back with more stuff and talking about AI with 3D and how that kind of works. And we wanna really find a way where we can make modeling easier and quicker so that we can get our projects out, because at the end of the day, that's what the goal is. The goal is to kind of make the big project. So the AI is supposed to help us kind of simplify our process, get rid of all the things that we don't want to do, and leave some of the more creative things that we may want to do. So, hey, all right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think about this workflow. Let me know what you guys would do to improve it. Either way, hit me up in the comments section in Discord, and I'll see you guys in the next video.